A very good afternoon everyone. I really hope you are doing great and staying absolutely safe as well. उम्मीद करता हूँ आप सब बहुत अच्छे होंगे. Would like to welcome you all to the platform of IAS Origin. IAS Origin के इस platform पे आप सबका बहुत बहुत स्वागत करना चाहूँगा. And the most important thing is that what makes today's session is so much, what makes this so much important is that we are going to be analyzing from today the GS paper 3 of UPSC mains. So when we talk about the UPSC mains examination, let me tell you one thing that we already have completed the analysis of GS paper 1 and GS paper 2. So each and every component we have holistically analyzed in this very platform. And today we are going to be doing the same thing for GS paper 3. So I can assure you even this session is going to be super important for all the people out there. आप सबके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा important session होने वाला है. So make sure you stay till the end so that you are able to gain immensely. Now, before I even start the session, I would like to tell you that what we stand to gain from this. हमें मतलब क्या चीज़ है जो यहाँ सीखने को मिलती है, वो ये है कि ना सिर्फ प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस आपको एक बेसिक क्लैरिटी दे रहे हैं, बल्कि प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन से आपको एक आइडिया मिल रहा है कि कैसे क्वेश्चंस आप एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं. एंड सेम क्वेश्चंस मे नॉट रिपीट देमसेल्व्स बट थीम्स विल ऑलवेज बी रिपीटिंग देमसेल्व्स. सो ये आप ध्यान में रखें दैट once a theme is there in the paper, it is bound to repeat itself over a period of time. So you have to make sure that whenever we are preparing for this examination, this tough examination as I would call it, it is very much important to have a basic idea at least that what has been asked from this particular topic from previous year. So that is very much important. So whenever we talk about this examination, it is always going to give you a lot of clarity. And before I even start the session, I would like to tell you about our Telegram channel, that is IAS Origin UPSC. You can join this, you get the PDFs on this Telegram channel, and all the important links are posted on regular basis on this very Telegram channel. So I am sure that this certainly can give you a lot of clarity on how precisely do we proceed in this particular direction, and that's quite going to be very much important. Now, when we talk about UPSC, you pick the notification, you will realize one very important aspect, and that is that your notification itself is giving you good level of clarity on what exactly is important from the examination point of view. तो उसमें तो कोई बड़ी बात है ही नहीं, that you are knowing that what exactly are the components we have to be understanding precisely in order to excel in this examination. So before I go very much deeper into the analysis part, I would like to again take you back to the syllabus, because a lot of students do commit this mistake of not understanding the syllabus before preparation. So if you see the pattern of the mains पे, in GS paper 3 we have component of science and technology, economy का portion है, disaster management है, environment ecology, internal security है. We have got all these 5 components there in this very paper. ये तो अब आपको clear है. Since we have got these 5 components, so it's certainly important for us to have a good level of clarity on all these components. That's certainly very much important. Getting it? So a basic level of understanding चाहिए. And trust me on one thing, if you will be having a decent level of clarity, so you will have a good grip over this particular examination. इसमें कोई शक नहीं है. I will also, I would like to tell you one thing, that no doubt economy का portion is there, but even economy के portion में भी what I have realized over a period of time is that we have also got agriculture से जुड़ा हुआ portion. So agriculture का portion is also there, so you certainly can't miss out on that. On top of that, we have a portion on land reforms in India and how we saw the economy being liberalized. Investments ka aspect is there. All these kind of points we certainly have to master over a period of time. So what I would certainly suggest is that it is indeed a very competitive paper. On top of that, it's a very diverse paper. In this very paper, I would say GS paper 3 में you actually have to study so much under the sun, and you have to certainly make sure that you excel in all of them. At least whatever is going on in the current affairs, you should be having a decent idea of that. कि भाई इससे जुड़ा हुआ क्या चल रहा है, इससे जुड़ा हुआ क्या चल रहा है. That is of course very much important. So I'll certainly be trying to make sure that I give you a holistic clarity on all those aspects very much precisely. So let's have a look at the syllabus first of all. So when you talk about the syllabus part, of course we have a very important part of economic development, or we can say economy. So here, very important thing is that you will have Indian economy, various issues related to the economy, and you'll have inclusive growth. Then gender budgeting is a very important area. And then land reforms पे questions are coming. LPG reforms we had in our country, they are important. Infrastructure पे energy, ports, roads, they're asking questions. Investment models, they're asking the questions. So even the economy portion, as we call it, that is very much diverse. So always remember one thing, that when we talk about this particular paper, so you have to be understanding one thing, that it is decent, you know, this syllabus is giving you a decent level of clarity, that what exactly can you certainly expect. So when I talk about the 2024 ka paper, I would like to, give you a basic level of understanding, that what exactly is the, weightage of different parts, because that is of course of immense importance. We have to know the weightage of different parts which are being asked in this very paper. So that is going to be important. So anyways, having said that, before I even, proceed ahead, I would like to tell you that we have got different parts other than economy also. So for example, economy will constitute around 40% of your paper. So you will have around 100 marks ki economy which is being asked. So it's the biggest component, no doubt. Like in polity and governance, constitution was very much big. Then 50 marks, that is around 20% of the paper, is from science and technology. That is very much important. You have to realize that. Then you have around 50 marks, that is 20% paper is from security. So internal security, you can call it. Then you have got disaster management, 30 marks around being asked. So this is basically 2024 ka paper. I'm just giving you the weightage. And 20 marks, around 8% of the paper is from environment. So I'm sure now you realize what I just told you, that you have got component of economy, you have component of security, you have component of science and technology, you have component of disaster management and environment. So technically we have 5 domains being covered. Even in economy also, I will say proper economy, and then you have component of agriculture as well. So I can't ignore that as well. We really can't end up ignoring this aspect today, that we have got both these aspects. So this is certainly going to be of immense importance. We have to be having a decent level of clarity on these particular points. So ये mind में रखना होगा आपको, because they are important. मतलब these are the points which certainly are going to be of immense importance, and we have to be understanding it thoroughly. So ये बात हमेशा ध्यान में रखें, that we have to have a proper level of clarity on all these points. So I hope now you know that what exactly is the weightage like. And on top of that, I would like to, tell you one more important aspect, that, if you are understanding this idea of the weightage, you yourself will have a proper clarity, that how in the first place are we going to, focus on the trend, and how do we decode the trend, because you yourself will have that idea on how do we proceed. So always remember one thing very much precisely, that whenever we are analyzing this very paper, so we are supposed to be having a proper clarity on what is being asked, like from the syllabus part of it, and how in the first place are we supposed to be understanding the linkages with the syllabus of the questions which are being asked. That is quite an important thing. Clear? So I am really very much sure about a simple aspect, that whenever we are, understanding these basic points, so it surely gives you a lot of clarity. So I'm sure now, economic development say questions will be asked, science and tech say questions are asked, environment, biodiversity say question will be asked, disaster management and internal security, we have to master all of them for GS paper 3. Now what is more important is that since GS paper 3 is so much diverse, so you have to keep this thing in your mind, that all the current aspect of like economy. So economy के current aspect you should know, internal security में what is going on you should know, science and tech में what are the new development like space, so axiom, ये सब missions, direct questions can be asked. Disaster management पे of course they can ask you about the new strategies. Environment पे भी species के ऊपर questions can be asked, or something which is going on currently in the news arena, you should be in a position to at least understand that point. So it is not a very tough thing for you to master, but you have to make sure that you are having a decent level of understanding on all these points. Very precise understanding has to be there. Only then you are in a position to do well in this very paper. So always remember this thing, that GS paper 3 is comparatively more challenging as compared to other GS papers. The only reason being that, GS paper 3 may you have to have a proper clarity on each and every aspect which are being asked. So this certainly makes it a bit difficult for you to master. But having said that, I can certainly assure you one thing, that if you are focused, if you are having a decent level of clarity, so you are good to go, because in case you have a strong foundation, it surely is going to help you a lot. So I'll, marks distribution की जहाँ तक बात आती है, so marks distribution more or less will be the same always. Remember this thing. So this is a point we have to understand very much precisely. Clear है जी? Now GS3 paper, usually what I would say is that you can say it is economy versus non-economy. Like economy ka portion is there including agriculture, and then you have environment, biodiversity, science and tech, internal security, disaster management. This is how you can look at this paper. So this is how most of the people do, focus on this particular thing. And let me tell you one thing, that even if you talk about this particular aspect, you have to understand that what all are the key themes. We'll be looking at that as well. But before all that analysis, it's very much important again to decode the syllabus first. So what syllabus says, like agriculture part. Ab agriculture part mein they're asking you about the major cropping pattern. Like this is the syllabus. Like, got it? Then you have farm subsidies, minimum support price, all these kind of things. Then you have food processing related industries. What is the scope? All these kind of things, because it's a sunrise industry. It is an industry which is bound to grow. So how exactly can it grow? That is also a point we have to be understanding. So remember this thing, whenever you are preparing for this very paper, you have to be very much smart in understanding that what exactly is the demand of this very paper. So that is of course going to be of immense importance. ये बहुत important है. So थोड़ा सा एक basic idea आपको होना चाहिए on the demand of the paper. Only then you are in a position to have a decent level of understanding on these points. Anyways, having said that, then we have got like science and tech. So science and tech may all the use of science and tech in our everyday's life. Then we have achievement of Indians in science and tech, indigenization of technology we talk about. That's important. Awareness in the fields of IT, awareness in the field of space, in the field of computers, in the field of robotics, nanotechnology, biotechnology. All the IPR issues are certainly important. Intellectual property right, like we talk about the patent, we talk about the geographical indications. All these are certainly going to be important. So we have to be understanding this point very much specifically. Clear? So what all in all I would want is that you should have a decent command over the syllabus. Then you talk about the environment. So environment may, of course, conservation, pollution, degradation, all these becomes important. Disaster management is a very important component. Then you have to make a linkage between development and spread of extremism. That is certainly important. Then we talk about a very important aspect, that is what is the role of external state and non-state actors in creating challenges to internal security. Now, if you talk about such questions, you have to focus on this aspect, that we have got different components, as I told you right in the beginning, that environment ka component is there, disaster management is there, then we have got internal security, as I've told you. So internal security ka kafi bada component has been given in the syllabus. So now you know what all is there to be studied, because well, these are the things which have been given explicitly, and you are supposed to be having a decent level of understanding. Again, I would like to reiterate that the subject-wise weightage will more or less remain the same, but you have to know that what exactly is the trend like. So how in the first place are we looking at the trend? That is certainly important. Before that, I would like to tell you about the most important theme, rather I would say, that is of economic development. That economy ki jo theme hai, that what exactly are the kind of the questions we are experiencing from that very theme, and then of course we'll be moving ahead. But before this clarity, what is the most important aspect is I'll like to take you back to this pie chart which I just showed you right in the beginning of our class, and would like to delve deeper into that. Okay, so have a look at this very pie chart we saw in the beginning of our class. Now we have to understand this thing, that when we talk about the economy section, Got it? So it has maintained a balanced focus on what? On issues like public expenditure, on issues like land reforms, we have seen questions, food care related inflation, and we also saw topics like millets being asked, because there was this year of millets, so that became a very important topic. Would also like to tell you that, the trend of examining the government policies, like there's a government policy, क्या वो अच्छा कर रही है खराब कर रही है, these kind of the questions have been asked. So there are some themes which are going to be very much important. We have to always keep this very thing in our mind. But anyways, when we are talking of this economic portion, which will give you 100 marks approximately, so have a look at these. So we have seen 4 10 marker the and 4 15 marker the. So 15 marker gave you 60, 10 marker gave you 40. So we had 100 marks ka questions from this economy portion of GS paper 3. A lot of people do commit this mistake that GS paper 3 is just economy, which is not the right thing. You have to focus on all the components adequately, only then you are going to be securing good marks. Remember, when we talk about examining the trend and the pattern of public expenditure on social services, now this is the question, and it is related to the post-reform era, post 1991. So to what an extent this has been in consonance with achieving the objects of inclusive growth, so they are relating with that. So that's interesting. So they are asking you about this overall trend in the public expenditure on social services. This is the kind of the question they have asked. So that is important. Then what are the causes of persistent high food inflation in India? Getting it? हम जब बात करते हैं, we have got high food inflation in India. That is again a point which is of immense importance. That's one thing. You have to comment on effectiveness of monetary policy of RBI to control this type of inflation. Now that is again a very important aspect. Getting it? So effectiveness of monetary policy of RBI. ये देखो. So food inflation, they have asked you causes of high food inflation, then effectiveness. Now this is a topic which is very much, I would say, static topic. Static sa topic hai, fact based topic hai. If you have read about the monetary policy of RBI, you know various tools. So you will be in a position to frame an answer over here. Then there was this question on the factors for the successful implementation of land reforms. So, देखो, land reforms is a topic. Let me tell you, land reforms is a topic which has been repeated so many times. In 2017 we had a question, 2021 we had a question, 23 we had a question. So this is such a topic which we have seen so many times in previous year as well. So we have to master this very topic always. So that is certainly going to be the case, which is of course very much important. So remember this thing, you have to certainly know that what all are the themes which we have to be, focusing upon. Similarly, there are themes in internal security, in science and tech, in disaster management, in environment. So we do have variety of the themes over there. I'm not denying the fact. But it is certainly important for us to at least understand that how in the first place do we master this particular point. For example, even if I talk about economy, in economy, we are having themes like, they have been asking you variety of the themes. And if I talk about two very important themes, that is agriculture and food security, they're asking question related to inclusive growth, related to Indian economy, of course, in general. Then they'll be asking a question on the food processing industries and variety of the questions like this in infrastructure, investment, all these kind of aspects. But the most important one is agriculture themes questions are coming and Indian economy questions are coming. So that is something you have to understand. Like, what are the factors responsible for successful implementation of land reforms in some part of India? So in some part of India like Kerala and West Bengal, it happened nicely. You have to elaborate. So what were the factors responsible for that? You have to tell that, and this actually is the kind of the questions you have to understand, that how in the first place are you supposed to write. Firstly, you tell that what are the land reforms. So now remember one thing, they're asking questions on the land reforms back to back. Then there's the question of role of millets in ensuring health and nutritional security. So you have to tell health security and nutritional security in India. This was the question. Even in 15 markers, you have this question on 4 labor codes. Merit and demerit uske puche. Now this is very much current affair based question, because only if you are having a decent command over what has been going on in the news, you will be able to answer that. Similarly, you had this question on Udan scheme. Now this is civil aviation ka, air connectivity. Now this is infra. Why infra? They can ask you a question on the road, railways and aviation. So they have asked you a question on the aviation, that is infra. challenges faced by Indian irrigation system in recent times. So now this is a recent times का question. You can't write घिसा पिटा रट्टे वाला answer. You actually have to write something which makes a lot of sense. So you have to give the measures taken by the government for efficient irrigation system. So here again that pattern is there कि major challenges है was then measures taken by the government. This is how you relate. That is actually the way you have to answer. ये बहुत ज़्यादा important aspects हैं which are quite important. Importance of maintenance of the buffer stock for stabilizing agriculture prices. What are the challenges associated with the storage of buffer stock? That is something you have to understand. All these things are very much important in the first place, you know that. And let me be very specific on one thing, bete, that if you are having a decent level of clarity, this means that you are on the right track. ये बहुत important. So we are supposed to have a decent level of understanding on these points. Only then you can master this topic. So it's very simple. Whenever we are talking of this very paper, you have to know that what all are the important themes associated. So if something is going on so much in the current affairs, it is very much wise for you to be focusing on that specifically. That is the way you have to go about it. Clear? So again, I would like to tell you one thing only for this very paper, especially the economy wala portion, that the key themes are always very much important. Whatever is going on in the news is certainly very much important. So you have to keep a very sharp focus on that. It can be labor code, like it was in news, they have asked you. Something which is going on in the sector of like when we talk about the inflation, what is RBI doing to control that? How effective is that? If the rate cut is happening, is rate cut reaching the people or not? That is the biggest question. ये एक बहुत बड़ा question है कि are people actually benefiting from the rate cut? So you always have to understand this thing, that if you have a decent command over economy, you are certainly going to do well. And I would like to suggest one very important thing to all the people out there, that always read economic survey. So you can read a summary if you don't have time. Economic surveys must. Economic Survey of India, which is published every year, that is of immense importance. So you have to be reading that specifically. That will be of immense importance, I can assure you. So आपको पढ़ना ही होगा. And only if you read that survey diligently, you will realize that okay, you have gained so much. So I would say economic survey you read budget. So budget and economic survey are going to give you good command over this particular portion. A lot of times economic survey will actually be giving you direct idea on that. And then of course issues relating to WTO, you have to read about that. What is impacting India's trade, you have to focus on that. And they certainly can give you a lot of clarity on how certainly do we deal with this particular thing, because high priority areas you can surely identify from there, and that is the way we have to focus on that. So always remember this thing, that when we talk about this particular paper, this paper is very much based on your overall clarity. That's one thing. It is just that how you approach that is going to be of immense importance. आपकी जो approach है, that certainly is going to be of immense importance. So remember this thing. And on top of that, if you face some problem in economy part, I'll always suggest you that NCERTs which are there for 11th and 12th standard, you can go for that. वो भी आप पढ़ सकते हो, that is absolutely fine. So if you go through that particular thing, because ultimately you always need to understand that if you are asking me about the sources, अगर आप sources की बात करते हो, so we are supposed to have a decent command over them as well. कि भाई sources की अगर हम बात करते हैं, we are supposed to be having a good level of clarity on the sources, कि भाई क्या sources आ रहे हैं. So it is very much important point, at least when you are talking of any specific point, you should be in a position to align yourself with that. For example, I'll tell you one thing. जैसे हम लोग बात करते हैं about some important topics, like I would say, like inclusive growth. So you should have a static idea on that and what is going on. Gender budgeting, government budgeting, agriculture allied services है, food processing है, investment models hai. So I would suggest you that you have a decent level of command over that. On top of that, what I'll suggest you is that ultimately any specific, in news, if we have any important report, especially by Niti Aayog, that will automatically become important. कोई भी नीति आयोग की report है, we are supposed to have a decent level of command over that. That's one thing. And on top of that, there can be any ministry's report, food processing ministry की कोई schemes है. So there can be any important scheme, any important policy, guideline, anything of this sort, it automatically will become very much important for us, and we have to deal with that. And I can assure you for GS paper 3 that if you do selective reading, special economy part, agriculture part of Yojana and Kurukshetra, this also can solve the issue of at times missing out on something, because selective reading can surely help you. So remember this thing, for each topic mentioned in the syllabus, you have to make concise notes from the resources which I have certainly mentioned, and some other resources as well, and you have to revise them on regular basis. Always remember this thing, especially in the economy portion, always try to make some graphs, to make some charts, to make some diagrams if possible, because that will also give you a lot of leverage, that how you have to deploy what you have studied. That is something which is important. ये बहुत important. So we are supposed to keep these very things in our mind, and trust me, it will do wonders in your overall preparation journey, because they are genuinely important. These are the things which are genuinely important, and this is why I always emphasize on these particular points, that we are supposed to have a decent level of clarity. This is important. Clear, Raji? So I hope that this has given you immense clarity on whatever the points are, how exactly do we deal with them precisely. That is what is required. Clear, Raji? Sure. So I'll be going specific on other themes, specifically, as I've already told you, the themes of internal security, the theme of environment. So this will be doing in a separate video, like security ki theme, science and tech ki theme, environment ki theme, and disaster management. So you can see out of 250 marks, 100 marks are to economy only. Then we have 150 marks from these portions, these 4 portions. So we'll be doing them specifically in the upcoming video, upcoming live video, which we'll be doing, and that again will be very much holistic. So our analysis is basically focused on this thing only, that what all are the important themes, how do we identify them, how do we solve that particular thing. And the best part is that at IAS Origin, we do have a free test series as well. Remember, so we have a free mains ki test series for all the people who are writing mains this year. So you can enroll using the link given in the description box. On top of that, every Sunday, we are also having a 12 to 3 free workshop. So this workshop will surely be helping you to improve your overall clarity on the preparation journey. If you are facing any problem, you surely can come here and you can be very much assisted in your overall doubts. Any doubt you have, we surely can help you on that. So ये काफी ज़्यादा important है. Clear? So that's very much it from my side. I hope you have enjoyed the session. I hope you have gained immensely from this very session, and make sure you join the Telegram channel of IAS Origin if you have not joined it yet, because this surely will give you a lot of clarity on different aspects. So that's very much it from my side, and I hope you have enjoyed this very session, and thank you so very much. In case of any doubts and queries, feel free to comment on this very video, and you can use all the links given in the description in order to join any of the initiative, be it the workshop which is conducted on Sundays, and be it the other aspect as well. You surely can go for that as well. So I am hopeful that this surely helps you guys.